Who's ready, Bills Mafia? It's the Bills Squad, sponsored by Game Time. Everything Buffalo Bills, every week. Breaking down the big hits and game-changing plays the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. So gear up and squad up. The Bills Squad show starts now.
Welcome in, Bills Mafia. Joe Marino here with the Big O, Jerry Ostroski, Bills Squad Live post-game coverage. The Buffalo Bills, 31-21 winners over the Miami Dolphins, putting the Dolphins in an 0-3 hole. The Bills improving to 3-0. The Bills win this game, but in some ways there are some frustrations. There's a lot to reflect upon from this contest, and Jerry and I will give you all the reaction you can handle. We'd love to hear from you if you're part of our live audience. Thank you for being here. Make sure you hit that like button. Leave us a comment. We want this to be interactive, and we'll have some fun here late on this Thursday night celebrating the Buffalo Bills' third win in as many games. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Jerry Ostroski, Buffalo Bills are 3-0.
I'm fired up, man. I mean, any win's a good win. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care how you get there. You get the 3 wins, you're 3-0. I think we all looked at the schedule and said we expect them to be 6-0 going into the bye week, getting ready for Kansas City. But there are a few things that we need to talk about, a few things that I didn't like tonight. But, you know, some of this is Thursday night football. It's what you get on Thursday night. And, hey, the most important stat, 31-21, Bills win. Let's get the extra days. Let's get down the road. Let's get ready for the next one.
A lot to unpack with this football game, and where I'd kind of want to start is going back to my discourse with you personally kind of throughout the course of this week, where we started off, excited, right? Should be some great opportunities for the Bills to, kind of pour it on and maybe win big at home. And then as kickoff got closer, I think you and I both had a realization that there's a football game to be played and that there's a football team on the other side that's flying up from Miami that's been told all week that they're trash and all these problems. And, you start to think, well, is this going to be the route we're expecting? The last 7 times these two teams played, the last 5, they were 1-score games. The last time Tua played the Bills, he was 25-28 with a passer rating of 124. And you felt like the Bills still had a ton of advantages in this game, but the nerves of the possibility came, and then this game plays itself out, and the Bills just had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to blow the thing wide open. There were multiple times where you're like, here it is. Here comes the kill shot. Here's the 2-score lead. And they finally get it with, just a couple minutes left in the game. But this is one where Buffalo let Miami hang around and in some ways credit Miami for what they were able to do, both offensively and defensively, to stay in the game. Obviously, the Bills make the plays to get it done. Miami hurts themselves for sure, but a sobering reminder of nothing is given to you. You have to go out there and do it on a week-to-week basis in this league.
Exactly. And I think, there's a lot of areas we can look at, like 2 areas for sure for me. One is obviously a lack of pass rush. Tua was not sacked one time tonight and really didn't have many people in his face. There's a few times he was flushed, trying to just throw it up to the Bills, and we weren't able to make plays on it. Obviously, Benford makes a huge play in the fourth quarter that seals the game. That was probably the biggest area to me, is just the lack of pass rush from the Bills on defense. Because honestly, I did not think they played terribly that bad. I mean, I didn't think they played that terribly on defense. I thought they did a lot of the things that they did in the Jets game. They tried to control the middle of the field. I thought that, again, while there was a few plays that A-Chain got out, I thought that Deion Walker was decent. I thought that Daquan Jones was decent. Obviously, again, the guys that we did not see in the first game showed up again tonight and came downhill to make plays. But that lack of pass rush with Tua is a big deal, and he was able to make plays. And, granted, I mean, the ball comes out of his hands a lot differently than it does Josh Allen's.
Yeah.
But he was able to make those plays. The other area is I think we had some situations on offense where we go ahead on first down and get 8, 9, 10 yards, and then we go right back to the run again. I thought we had some situations where we had Miami reeling a little bit. I would have liked to have seen us be a little more aggressive in the play calling. I understand that Joe Brady sits in those staff meetings, and I'm sure that McDermott preaches that complementary football over and over and over again. We talk about it all the time on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen them take a little bit, take a few more shots than they did, so to speak, after those first down runs where they were successful. Because think about it, Joe. You get 8 yards, 7 yards on first down. Even if you don't hit that second down play, you're still 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. So you're in a very manageable situation. I would have liked to have, seen us get a little more aggressive on those plays.
Third down defense is going to be a huge talking point, and it deserves to be. You always kind of felt like that was a fluky 0 for 11 that the Jets had last week. Miami comes into this game. They go 10 of 15 on third down, 11 of 16 third and fourth down combined, and a lot of those were third and longs. I think I saw a graphic there at the end of the game where the average distance on third down for Miami was like 3rd and 6.6 yards, and they converted 3rd and 12, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8. They had the situation where it was 3rd and 12, and there's the timeout play, and they get it down to the 4th and manageable and go ahead and convert the 4th down. Like, the Bills have got to figure out third down defense. This is going to be a major issue, and somehow they always get the big takeaway. It just always happens, and Terrell Bernard gets that huge interception when Miami was threatening to tie up the game late. But I don't know how often, you can't count on that to happen all the time. I mean, between that and Zach Sealer and the mistake he made on the punt to rough Cam Johnston, they made some huge mistakes that allowed Buffalo to get out of this thing with a win. But we're not any closer to being less concerned with third down defense, especially after this one.
I think this was, last week we didn't see it. This week we really saw the absence of Ed Oliver. No pressure up the middle.
None.
They were able to really focus on Joey Bosa, and it hurt us. We just didn't have the pass rush. We didn't get very few times we get Tua off his spot. And we talk about your pregame shows and looking at what the Bills need to do and everybody else's, and everybody to a man was the same thing. If you move Tua off his spot, you can have success. Bills did not do that. And, at some point they've got to figure out, I don't know. I don't know what the 5-man and 6-man pressure rate was tonight. I don't know. I don't feel like I saw a lot of it. I felt that maybe they were really trying to play that underneath coverage so they didn't bring a bunch of blitzes. But it was definitely the pass rush defensive wise was glaringly lacking tonight. But you know what? I go back again to what we've talked about a million times. Thursday night, division rival that not only is a rival, but also is a wounded animal. And there's nobody more dangerous than a wounded animal. And I felt that the Dolphins came out tonight and put it all on the line and said, this is what we're going to do. And now, where did they go? There were so many reports that McDaniel was going to lose his job if they got blown out. And you had to expect, these are NFL players, okay? This isn't just, youth football or high school football. These are NFL guys. They've got pride about their job. They want to go out and do the best they can. And that Dolphins team tried to win this game. I mean, they played hard. They made plays when they needed to. Just a couple mistakes. And, it's interesting, Joe, and I'm sure you see it. I mean, Buffalo's become that team like Kansas City, like the Patriots of the past. You can't make mistakes against them. If you make mistakes, they're going to make you pay. And they made the Dolphins pay tonight.
That was I watched a game with my brother, and I kept on saying to him, I was like, that's the mistake Miami can't make.
Right.
Have to make them pay for this. Right. And so the Bills did that for the most part. Get out of there with a 10-point win. And I would agree with, specifically with the pass rush. I got to watch the tape, right? Of course, but I thought these defensive tackles tonight were a mess. I thought Daquan Jones played reasonably well, but I couldn't tell you how many times I'm watching this game and they're showing replays and I'm watching defensive tackles completely washed out of gaps,
Yes.
completely gone. And then it doesn't take the all-22 to realize that there wasn't any pass rush from the interior. And I thought the Bills' defense resolved to daring Tua to make some throws outside the numbers, which in theory makes a lot of sense because he doesn't really have the fastball to really drive the ball outside the numbers. But the lack of pass rush plus the separation that a guy like Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill is able to gain, invited some chances for them, and they hit a few and they missed a few, but they were kind of daring that, and Tua said okay, and he made some of those throws. It feels like we're talking about a Bills loss, and I don't want it to be that way. They won by 10. Right. It's hard to do in the NFL, right? Especially a divisional game, but it's just naturally where my mind goes right now. It's some of the frustrations that are mounting with this defense. And I mean, I have some grace. Like, you got to get healthy. You didn't have Milano. You didn't have at Oliver or Hairston, or, you want to have Hoyt and Ogunjobi, but I am hungry. I am hungry for those reinforcements, Jerry.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, and obviously we need that Oliver back. And honestly, what do the Saints bring to the table that you want to force him back? I don't know if they bring anything to the table where you bring Ed Oliver back maybe a little bit sooner than you might want to. So I would expect Ed to not play next week. If he does play, I'm happy about it because, that's going to be that much more of a presence up the middle. But I don't expect to see Ed next week. I expect them to bring him back when he was fully healthy because of the way the schedule sets up and everything else that, the opponents we have maybe aren't quite as taxing as we might normally see at this point in the year. But the other thing that's interesting, I remember on this show, you and I talked about it. We're having a conversation about cornerback number 2. And I'm not implying that he's playing bad, but I do think it's interesting that we sat here and we said, whoever that is, whether it's Trey White or it's Hairston or it's Strong, they're going to get the majority of the footballs thrown at them. And this is another week now where teams they're going where they go. I mean, they've gone to Bedford. Tonight they went to Bedford quite a bit. And Tyreek had success. Waddle had success. So, they're testing him out. I mean, he's going to have to step up as well.
And I love Christian Benford, and I thought Trey White had some moments in this game, but eventually those are special athletes in Hill and Waddle. I mean, it's like chasing a rabbit, right? I mean, it's tough, dude. I mean, so I have some level of grace just because they're so twitchy in short areas. They can, spring and, Tua throws it out there and they can find some success. But I mean, you're talking about red zone stuff, and it's like, if you don't get any pass rush and they have time to hit those whip routes, or, they can run across formation, like nobody's running with these guys.
No.
That's where you miss Hairston. You feel like Maxwell Hairston be the type of player you'd like to have in a game like this to match up with these Miami receivers. But I think that's kind of the overall thought that I'm having when you consider these reinforcements, whether that's Larry Ogunjobi or Maxwell Hairston or Michael Hoyt. Like, there's nothing happening on this football field that is decreasing my appetite to see these guys in these spots because of, honestly, the athletic upgrade for Hairston. Although I will shout out Trey White. I think the physicality's been really good.
Yes.
So, and you wonder about that with Hairston. And I think with some of what Bobby's had to dial up for some of the run blitzes, you're putting Trey White or your other corners in situations where they've got to make some tackles. And, Trey's done that. But at the same time, he's not going to be able to stay in phase with Jalen Waddle. He couldn't. That's an athletic mismatch. And if your rush doesn't get there, that's going to be completion city for the opposition.
Exactly. And when you play speed teams, you got to have pass rush.
Yeah.
And I would say probably on defense, the most disappointed I've been in a player, and I'm not like, hey, we got to make a change, but, we talked a little bit about it on Tuesday's show about moving him inside to a 3 technique, but Greg Rousseau's got to step up.
Yes.
He's got to step up and get some pressure. It can't be all on Joey Bosa. And, this isn't like basketball where you got a star where 4 guys can stand around and watch the one guy make all the baskets. They've got to put their time in. They got to make their plays. And for whatever reason it is, he's struggling a little bit in pass rush situations right now, not getting a lot of pressure. So, again, Joe, and you brought light to it earlier. I mean, we're talking about this Bills game tonight like it's a loss. They won by 10. They scored 30. They scored 30 again, right? This is another – what is this?
Right.
How many games in a row is this 30 points?
It's you know what, that it's a lot. It's
Right.
a ton of games in a row. Yeah.
Right. So they scored 30 again, and we're not even at full strength.
I know.
And that's what's crazy about this. We're not at full strength, and we're scoring 30, and we're finding ways to win. And, we talk about how bad of a matchup Baltimore is. Obviously, Miami, their receivers and the speed they have that's a tough matchup for anybody, honestly. But I think the best thing for me was the 27 carries for 157 yards and almost a 6-yard per carry average out of James Cook and the running backs. I mean, James, you want to talk about earning your money? I mean, James Cook is proving Brandon Beane right week after week. He's getting it done.
We'll definitely unpack more of the offense here on the other side of it. I do want to affirm your comments about Greg Rousseau as a player that you need more out of him at this point. He's been quiet for 3 games now and needs to crank it up. He needs to crank it up for sure. And I need disappointments there. I would fully support. So we're looking for him to step things up here down the stretch. All right, coming up next, we'll talk offense. Jerry's ready to talk James Cook. He wants to get into this offensive performance.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. We'll do that here next. So, folks, be sure to stick with us. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love the most is how portable they are. They're big in taste, but it's a tiny shot that you can take anywhere and get that boost whenever you need it. I've been eyeing that new limited time cranberry lime flavor as well. That sounds like the perfect one to try next. And I love how fast it kicks in and that it's sugar-free, so I don't have to worry about crashing later. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or check them out on Amazon today. Joe Marino, Jerry Ostroski here, Bill Squad Live, post-game, reacting to the Buffalo Bills' 31-21 win over the Miami Dolphins, improving to 3-0. No Jeremy White tonight. I miss him. I know Jerry misses him.
Oh, I miss him big time.
Yeah, that shout out Jeremy White. That's the man that makes this show go. I promise you that. Jerry will tell you the same thing. But sensitive to Jeremy, those turnarounds on a primetime into being on the behind the mic for WGR on the next morning. We'll give him some grace for this one.
Like the great Warren Zevon said, you can sleep when you're dead, right?
Wow.
Come on, man.
All right. So
I'll give him a little bit of noise, but I get it, man. I get it. That's like his main gig. Like if that was my main gig, I'd be all in as well. But no, we miss J-Dub. I wish he was here. I love my dude, man. I miss him when he's not around. I wish he was here, but I get it. And I will be listening on Audible tomorrow. If you're not in Buffalo, get the Audible app on your phone. Go to WGR. You can listen to Jeremy White all morning long, him and Joe DiBiase. It's great. I listen to him my daughter is the most knowledgeable Bills fan in school because she's got to listen to Jeremy and Joe every morning.
Let's go. So let's unpack this offense, and it's sort of like a lot of really good things to say.
Right.
Other than not being able to land the kill shot when you had a bunch of opportunities. I thought Miami made a good adjustment with how they played. I thought early on they wanted to vary their looks and maybe crowd the box a little bit. And you saw, I thought Joe Brady masterfully call the game early on. And then Miami changed. Miami played a lot more soft zone. They really they were capping everything vertical and daring Josh Allen to be patient and hit some throws. And the point that I kept on making to my brother as I'm watching this game is they need a yards after catch play. They have to get a yards after catch play because there's no space down the field. They're just flooding coverage zones. Khalil Shakir delivers the huge yards after catch play to put the Bills ahead late in this game. But it was a game where I think you love a lot of the pass offense. I think you love a lot of the rush offense. It was more you just couldn't land that kill shot until late in the game.
Exactly. And I think Elijah Moore gave you a couple of those yards after catch plays, especially late in the game. But my question to you, Joe, is why are we playing over the top? I understand the concept. It's late in the game. You don't want to give up anything deep, but what have the Bills shown at all in the first couple of games that would make you nervous that they could beat you over the top? You know what I mean? I mean, it's like I get the theory, but to me, I might have been a little more aggressive if I was that Miami defense and that defense coordinator. But no, I want to go to the offensive line a little bit. 2 sacks tonight, 1 last week, maybe 1 the first game. We're already at 4 sacks in 3 games now. That sounds kind of, petty. 4 sacks in 3 games, but this is a group that gave up 11 last year. I still don't quite see the mesh out of that group yet. Is it because we haven't played a lot of preseason games? I'm not sure. I don't know if Spencer Brown is right. Spencer, I think if you got him alone and gave him the truth serum, maybe he's a little bit dinged up with that back or something. I don't know if he's quite right yet, but I will say this. Miami does have talented outside rushers. You talked about it. I talked about it. Those guys can bring some heat, and they did tonight. And Josh went down twice. But I also think this is the first time in a while I haven't seen Josh really force the issue trying to get out of the pocket either. Like, he almost is toning it down a little bit, whether it's the nose, whether it's the age, whether it's whatever. I don't see him taking the chances out of the pocket that he has in the past. But, yeah, I still don't think that group is quite where they need to be or where they will be, because we know how talented they are.
Yeah, I don't know if Josh had a deep attempt in this game.
I don't think he did.
20 yards or more down the field. And if that's true, that would be back-to-back games where Josh Allen did not attempt a deep throw.
Would you say the deepest throw he had was that first pass to Coleman?
To Keon.
The Keon for the
He stared that thing down. There was one option for Josh Allen that play. He said, "I'm going to spot to Keon Cole."
Yes, exactly. And hey, dude, Keon is proving his worth quite a bit. I mean, some of the catches
third down
he made,
catch, third down catch, especially because that same play last year, the same situation against Miami went through his hands and into the hands of Jalen Ramsey. I think that was that Josh Allen's first interception he threw on the year.
Yes, it was.
So, like, it's cool to see, like, literal copy paste, same scenario. Dude, squeeze the ball tight, man.
Oh man,
tight.
He's doing exactly what I was hoping he would do. He's physically dominating cornerbacks right now.
I wanted that back shoulder in the third quarter, though.
Yeah,
I wanted that one.
I did as well. But you're right. I don't think this is another game where Josh Allen doesn't complete a ball over 20 yards. But I mean, again, how can you complain about it? I mean, it's working. It's highly efficient. I think it's kind of cool. Today we saw a little more out of Elijah Moore. We already know what Shakir can do. The run after catch ability of some of these guys is strong. And then throw on top of it, and I said this in your Discord channel about halfway through the second quarter, 88, 86, 85, you better put respect on their names, because that group because here's the thing. It's one thing to be really good at catching the ball. It's really good to be, good at blocking. They're doing everything. They're being asked, if you watch that offense, that tight end group is being asked to do more stuff across the board than anybody on that offensive group, and really maybe in the NFL, as far as just the responsibility they have week after week. And I think you're starting to see maybe the idea that Bean had and others had with this tight end group and the talent they have. And man, they're pretty impressive.
It's a identity piece of the structure of this offense, right?
Yes.
Is those 3 tight ends and how they block. And I think you're seeing the upside that exists when your third tight end is Jackson Hawes. With no disrespect to Alec Anderson, Hawes elevates that group. And maybe this is a take. It shouldn't be. I think Jackson Hawes is a better perimeter blocker than Alec Anderson. Now, if I need someone to play guard or center, I would want that to be Alec Anderson and not Jackson Hawes. But I get a better perimeter blocker that has pass catching ability.
Right. You've got a guy who's a guard center trying to block perimeter guys, and now you got a tight end who is nimble enough to run routes, and he's blocking on the perimeter. So you've got an athletic advantage where you didn't have it before. And I'm not saying that the Alec Anderson set doesn't come into play here and there. We saw it against the Jets.
We saw it in this
They don't-
game. It's
right, you saw it in
85,
this
88,
game.
and 70.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't have to rely on it now
No.
because you've got basically a guy that blocks like a guard,
Yeah.
playing tight end. I mean, I told you, I texted you, man. The Jackson Hawes jersey is on its way.
I
It's
was going to
coming.
ask you, is that fact or fiction? Did you really do it? Did you in-game order a Jackson Hawes jersey?
It will be ordered this week.
All
Yes.
right.
It will be ordered this week.
I'm sure it won't take long for it to make an appearance on
No, it will
Bill's
not.
squad.
I love it, man. I think it's the best thing ever. And it's amazing. And the cool part is that's one of the first things I kind of picked up on in this draft. I mean, getting something we don't have, a new toy, right? A tight end that can block. And then you see him catch the shovel pass. You saw him catch the seam route against Baltimore. And so all those narratives about how he wasn't good, in the passing game, 17 trusted him pretty quick, and he proved him right. So good stuff by him.
Said 3 targets, right? So we had the seam shot against Baltimore. We had the sideline catch and run against the Jets, and the Josh Allen flick. Well, boy, Josh was feeling it when he flicked that one to Ray Davis.
Yeah,
that'd have been so. It was no look to my guy. Said, "I want a highlight."
Yeah,
that was a
little iffy. I got a little nerved up on that one, but no, I mean, it's just, hey, man, you take it the way you can take it, and again, 10-point victory, 31-21. I mean, it's really hard to complain about it, but there are areas we need to get better at.
3 Josh Allen touchdown passes. The first is to Dalton Kincaid. He snuck that one in there. Looked like cover 2. Put it in there, a little catch and run. And then Dalton had a chance for 2 more. He had 2 more touchdown opportunities.
Yes.
I think that second one would have been a great catch. That was a good play by that safety to get his hand in late. Then the catch and run that almost went for another score. I wanted him to run over that corner so bad, but your team leader in catches, yards, targets, Dalton Kincaid tonight, 5 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown on 6 targets.
I thought the best catch he made was that low ball, that kind of quick out pass that he took.
That was a huge conversion.
That was huge.
Yeah.
Huge conversion. I thought that was the best pass he's caught maybe in his career.
Yeah.
And I know, and it wasn't very far, but
no,
the difficulty of that catch was, I don't think anybody understands how hard that was to catch that ball. You're moving one way, you got to reach down low. I mean, I guess Dalton Kincaid took the criticism to heart at the end of the season last year, because he started this season. I mean, this year is he's on fire.
All I'll say is that probably not far away from a Dalton Kincaid apology form being put out there, and I can tell you who doesn't have to fill it out.
Not this guy.
Not over here either, but some of y'all do. So are you guys even happy when he scores? That's the question. Are you celebrating these touchdowns?
Right.
Do you like these plays?
Right.
It didn't sound like you did this offseason.
No. I agree, man. I agree. I don't think anybody understands how hard it is to drag a leg around the field for a full season. I've done it. It's not fun. And we know, it's obvious he was not healthy last year. And I didn't even realize the skin lesion deal that he had on top of the knee injury. But the fact that he was even on the field is a win in itself, and that he actually did some things that he did with that injury. And man, he's been nothing but a blessing right now.
So the first touchdown is Kincaid, little honey hole shot. Then you have the Jackson Hawes, Josh Allen just pitching it out there. That's just fun. It's funny. We're like 8 years into this Josh Allen thing, and I mean, I'm dialed in on Josh. I've been watching every play a million times. Like, I know the Josh Allen story, and I find myself going back and watching highlights just because I don't know. Like, I'm very aware of the player that he is in this point in time, that I exist, in the role that I have, getting to cover this team, and as a fan, like, I am enjoying the Josh Allen experience, like, very much. So I point being is I watch the highlights all the time, and I always wonder, like, what else is going on here? Like, what else can he do? He never stops. It doesn't stop, Jerry. This guy just keeps on doing those special plays. And then, of course, the catch and run by Khalil Shakir to get to 3 touchdowns on the game for Josh Allen. Do you have a favorite of the 3?
Yeah, the Hawes touchdown. That's my
because
favorite.
It's Hawes, or you just creativity?
But here's why it's my favorite. And you can figure out real quick whether a guy is a team favorite or not by when something good happens, how did the rest of them celebrate? He got absolutely gang mauled in the end zone when he caught that ball. Deion Dawkins was going nuts. Everybody came over and celebrated with him when he caught that touchdown. I think it's indicative of just what he's brought to the offensive side of the ball and what he's brought to the tight end room. That was my favorite is watching that celebration, not necessarily the creativity of the flip and everything else, and that it was Hall's first touchdown, but just the way the offense, the 11 guys all went to the end zone and celebrated with him. I thought that was really cool.
Truly unselfish, right? You hear that
Yes.
word all the time from everybody with the Bills. And I think you see that personified time and time and time and time again. And boy, when you have success and nobody cares who gets the credit and you're happy for everyone's success, boy, that says a lot about a football team.
Were you know, the other thing that's cool is you watch 17 and his demeanor. Was he ever nerved up?
No, he's so calm, right? I've never seen him so calm.
No, I told you, man. I told you when I saw the videos of him at camp, and then I witnessed it myself. He's at a different level. And I thought it was cool last week when Romo was on, because we all know how Romo's style of broadcasting is. He likes to circle guys, and this is where the ball's going. I don't think Josh ever took the ball someplace that Romo didn't say where it was going to go. Meaning, you know, and Nance had made a comment about something, and Romo's like, no. He sees this differently now. He's figured it out. And I think you see that in the calmness, in his personality, in his demeanor, the way he goes about his business. There's no panic out of that guy. And so the rest of the dudes can play free because they know that at the end of the day, if it's tied up with 2 minutes, if we're down 3, if we're down 7, whatever it may be, we still got 17. And he's giving that aura over and over again, and it's special.
Yeah, I think this game in so many ways is emblematic of the type of team that the Bills have become, where, yeah, they make dynamic plays. They do, right? And there's some clutch elements to what happens, but they have a special quarterback that is embraced.
Right.
I don't have to force this. If we don't beat ourselves and we can just make a few plays, we're going to win. You know, because a team like Miami's, they're gonna make the mistakes. I remember this with the Patriots for so long. It was like they're just gonna invite you to play a football game, and they're gonna invite you to beat yourself. And you know what? Teams just always do it. They just always do it. And I think that comes from the stress of knowing, like, hey, we have to play great because that 17 dude can do whatever he wants on a football field. And now he's got the mental piece. I think the mental piece has come along in such a big way for Josh to complement, and obviously the physical skill that he has, but it's not just mentally, hey, I know what you're in, I know how to attack it, I know where to go with the football. It's mentally, I can just be patient. I don't have to force anything. If we don't beat ourselves, we're tough to beat, and the Bills have kind of been proving that, I think, these last couple weeks.
Exactly. I mean, how many times they put the camera on Tua tonight, and you kind of saw that everybody was waiting. It's going to happen.
Yeah, right.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then, you know, you talked about it with your brother tonight. They've got to make that turnover. It's going to happen. And Bernard steps in front of the pass and picks it off because Tua's staring the guy down. But yeah, I mean, it's funny when the quarterbacks, and you saw it kind of coming last year, and then this year it's fully there. When you see the quarterback position truly understand the game at a different level and understand kind of the matrix of it, because you know he's so damn athletic. Mm-hmm. So you know that if he doesn't have what he wants or doesn't have what he knows, he can get himself out of it. It's really, really special. And I think Bills fans, I think they do for the most part. I know I don't take him for granted. I know you don't take him for granted. But, you know, how many years does he have, right? And I hope you wish it was for eternity, but it's not going to be that way. But the fact that we get to watch this guy and do some of the things he does is really, really special. It's a once in a lifetime thing.
I could probably cry thinking about the day where I watched the Buffalo Bills and that guy's not the quarterback. Talk about just absolute joy that this man has brought to a fan base. I mean, my goodness, we're in it, folks. Enjoy it. Don't take it for granted.
And hell, I'm disappointed in you that you didn't know it was his parents' anniversary tonight. If I'd have known it was his anniversary, I mean, he's not going to lose on his parents' anniversary.
I forgot. I forgot about that. You did. Look at you, Jerry, pulling the nuggets here. I love it.
That's because I'm an obsessive Twitter scroller. That's why.
Are you one of those? That's like one of the best and worst thing about me. I miss a lot of things, but I also love that I'm not always like chronically.
I wish I was more like you. I wish I was like you. Believe me. You don't.
I am, man. I leave the phone on Do Not Disturb. I try to get my stuff done.
I couldn't tell you how many times I've sent stuff to my boys, and they're like, parody, fake. Parody, fake,
Yeah, I've had to hit you on a few of those as well. You gotta improve. Now that it's out there, okay. Step one is knowing that
I know that I have a problem.
All right.
I'm working to get my chip. Believe me.
Good. All right, embrace that growth mindset, Jerry Ostroski. All right, coming up next, I want to get into some odds and ends with Jerry. Ray Davis, the missed field goal by Prater, some other X factors from this game, the Elijah Moore role. We got a lot more to do here, folks. Be sure to stick with us. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you could turn your takes into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. I've been playing Prize Picks lately, and it's such a fun way to stay locked in for the season. I love checking projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley's rushing touchdown projections. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Joe Marino, Jerry Ostroski, Bills 31-21 winners over the Miami Dolphins, providing some instant post-game reaction. We've been having over 2,000 people on here for most of this stream. We thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And we'd love it if you hit that like button and you left a comment, and it's so appreciated. This is a lot of fun to be able to do this, and we'll be doing it all year. And dumping those thoughts right after the game. It's pretty cool. And I get to talk to Jerry Ostroski, 100-something game starter for the Buffalo Bills immediately after games. I don't take that for granted either, my guys. So this has been a blast.
I got one for you. Who had 11 solo tackles tonight, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass defended? Don't look at your notes, damn it.
I don't think nobody from the Bills, because the Bills didn't get a sack.
Nobody from the Bills, but a former Bill did.
Was it T-Dot?
Yep, T-Dot. Terrell Dotson, 11 solo tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass defended, 1 quarterback hit.
Man, 11 solo tackles is a lot of tackles.
A ton of tackles.
So he didn't have an assisted tackle.
Not one.
Which also means nobody assisted any of his tackles.
Right. Not one. Now, Rasul Douglas, the second leading tackler for the Miami Dolphins, Rasul Douglas, 7 total tackles, 4 solo, and the list goes on. But yeah, 2 former Bills were our biggest nemesis on defense tonight for the Miami Dolphins.
31 points for the Bills. You're going to win a lot of games to score 31 points.
That's very true.
All right, let's get into some odds and ends here. Let's start with Elijah Moore and the role that he's been able to carve out for this team. He winds up having 2 catches for 30 yards, a rush for 11 yards. Almost had another huge rush that got called back. It's a soft holding call on Kincaid. I don't think that was a good call at all.
Yeah, it was weak.
So, I mean, he had 4 meaningful touches, nearly 5 meaningful touches. It feels like Elijah Moore's become everything we hoped Curtis Samuel would be for this team.
You took my line. That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, this is basically the Curtis Samuel role, right? And yeah. Elijah Moore's doing it well at a much cheaper rate and a much younger player. So what does that tell you? I mean, obviously Curtis Samuel's still hurt, still on the injured list, but this is kind of what we envisioned out of Elijah Moore. I think, when he comes in, we sign him, and a lot of people are like, "Where's he fit?" We've already got, Khalil Shakir. Where does this guy fit? Well, obviously he fits in these utility type roles. Really good job of it tonight. I mean, thank goodness he's here, because he gives us another aspect that we didn't have with Samuel being on the injured list.
I'll say what surprises me about the Elijah Moore role is, I mean, I've been watching Elijah Moore back during his time at Ole Miss, and I love the skill set because I like route running. I like the hands. I like the speed and quickness. But I surprisingly never really saw a good yards after catch player. And he's producing end arounds with the ball in his hands, some catch and run type stuff. I mean, that's the third down he got late in the game. I mean, it's a game-changing play. I mean, like, you're staring at the opportunity to have to give them the ball back and pray to God you can get another stop. Well, Elijah Moore gets a clutch first down there late.
I don't think people understand it. Even NFL guys that are playing at the highest level of the sport in the world, have confidence issues sometimes. And I would imagine playing with bad quarterbacks, playing on multiple teams in so many years, kind of hits your psyche a little bit. And now he's playing for Buffalo. He's well entrenched in what we're doing. 17 takes snaps, and it kind of changes your viewpoint a little bit. And having that confidence is a big deal. And he's playing like that confident player that we were hoping he would be. And you're seeing that more and more every week shine through.
Josh Allen, the fastest player in NFL history to reach 300 career offensive touchdowns, including the playoffs. He passes Patrick Mahomes.
The first for Josh Allen.
I know. It's real. It's really a thing. The first player in NFL history, and then it's just Josh Allen. Yeah. Cool thing after cool thing after cool thing. Goodness gracious, that's our quarterback.
And think about it. I mean, doing it with a defense, for all intents and purposes, it's been kind of patched together and kind of piecemealed, and while they have their moments, hasn't been a juggernaut by no means.
What do you make of the Ray Davis situation, if that even is fair to call it a situation? He didn't get an opportunity to touch the ball in this game, and he's gotten his chances, not high leverage touches against Baltimore and the Jets, but I don't think there's been a lot of success when he touches the ball. You're expecting year two for things to kind of come together, especially when you consider the time that James Cook missed this offseason. Like, that was reps for Ray Davis, and he doesn't look effective right now, and he didn't get any opportunities tonight.
I think running back touches revolve around trust, and for whatever reason, Joe Brady and Sean McDermott don't maybe trust him as much as they trust James Cook and Ty Johnson. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I think that I'd be curious to see what you find when you do your post-game shows and your breakdowns on Substack and on Locked On, just how much Cook's, if it has increased his play percentage. Because it seems like we're seeing more and more of Cook over the last couple of games, maybe even more so than we have in the past. Catching the ball out of the backfield, making plays. He's another one. He's stepped up in a huge way. 19 carries tonight, 108 yards, 5.7 average, 1 touchdown. Now that he's here and he's making the plays he's making, do you ever sit back and think about a Buffalo Bills team without James Cook? We talked about, and we talked about the money, and it was fair criticism. I mean, it was fair analysis. It wasn't like we were stepping out or going over top. I mean, it was a fair analysis of the situation and what we felt he was worth. And he signs the extension, excuse me. And then we watch him do what he's done over the first 3 games. I can't imagine a Bills team without that guy at tailback.
He's a stud. I thought he was so close to breaking some huge runs in this game. And the James Cook touchdown is now inevitable. This guy leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns since the start of last season. We talked about, like, metrically, the touchdowns last year were fluky, but they keep happening, right? Like, the dude produces. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, because right now the Bills have played 3 games, and James has over 20 so far. He's on pace to have 351 touches this year. 351. His career high would be 281 in 2023. That's a healthy amount. So I know that James Cook is awesome, but he's also a 5'11", 195 pound back that you want to be at his best in the postseason. And I don't know if 350 regular season touches is the best way to get there.
I don't see James Cook getting the hard touches, though. I don't see him getting the hard runs, or where he gets squared up and just gets physically hit hard. I think Cook has the ability, like Thurman did and some of these other backs in the league, to be able to turn at the last second, eliminate the big hit. he gets tackled, but he never takes a squared up shot. Does that make sense?
I agree with you.
And
Yes.
and I think that is what will increase his longevity and allow him to be productive as the season goes on. But it's one of those things, guys. You can like it or not like it. And like I say all the time, you can like it or not like it, but you better learn to love it. When you pay a guy that much money and you have him locked up for X amount of years, you're gonna have to pay him no matter what. So you better get your productivity out of him. And Buffalo and Joe Brady and that offensive side of the ball, they're getting their productivity.
What do you think of the Bills continue to play these three linebackers, even with Milano out? You saw a ton of Shaq Thompson in this game. He had the huge tackle for loss. That was an unbelievable play.
Yeah.
Boy, if he doesn't make that play, that's probably a house call for Devon Achane. I really like Shaq Thompson from what I saw during training camp. And I know he's battled some injuries, but he looked pretty spry out there. I'm curious to see what the film reveals there. But the Bills are definitely playing a lot more three linebackers. A lot more. That's a huge part of what this team's become this year.
I think they finally had enough. I mean, Shaq Thompson tonight, third on the team in tackles, 6 total, 4 solo, behind Taron Johnson and Terrell Bernard. If you look at this group all the way down, I mean, you got to get to AJ Epinesa, which is at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th before a defensive lineman shows up. You got Taron Johnson leading the way with 8. Then you got Bernard with 7. And you got Shaq with 6, Dorian with 6, Trey White with 5, Bishop with 5. Again, another good showing from Bishop of getting downhill and inserting where he has to. But yeah, I don't have a problem with them playing three linebackers and playing gap control defense. Now, I thought the guys inside tonight struggled a little more than they did against the Jets, that being Deion Walker and you know what? They're playing a lot of TJ Sanders. Right now, to me, TJ Sanders isn't a first and second down guy. He's a third down guy. But he plays first and second because they have to. And he struggles a little bit. But yeah, I think that, again, we're in a situation where we've got a ton of young guys and new guys playing, being productive, and then the cavalry shows up week 6 or week 7, 3-0 in the National Football League, scored 30, 3 games in a row, 30 or more, and you still don't have a full gamut of players. That bodes well for the Bills.
Sean McDermott was asked about the pass rush today, and his quote was, "We missed Ed." Damn right, we missed Ed Oliver in this football game. All right, we got one more segment to go, and I have a picture that I need to show Jerry, and I need his reaction to it. So we'll do that here.
I hope it's not the one I think it is.
Well, you will find out here shortly, and would love to spend some time in the comments. So if you have a question, let's get him in here to close out this post-game episode of Bill Squad. We'll be right back with you. Mazda crafts cars for those who do simply more than move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. And I love this. I love this feature. All-wheel drive is standard in every crossover SUV, so you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, folks, welcome back. Bills 31-21 winners over the Miami Dolphins. It's a Victory Friday here in the world of Bills Mafia. And I teased before the break that I had a picture that I needed to show Jerry for his reaction. And you were worried that it would be something in particular. You want to call your shot here? Anything you're thinking about?
I'm just hoping it's not that one where I'm flopping around on the
field. No. This isn't a picture of you.
Okay.
No. This is a picture of Jordan Phillips. Have a look at these.
I saw that. That's interesting. Obviously, Deion Dawkins has a big influence on the locker room, so to speak.
Zubaz, but overalls, with no shirt though. I think that's what brings us together.
The no shirt is what kind of does it, and then also the man bun on top with the shaved out sides. That's interesting as well. But no, I saw that earlier tonight, and hey man, 3-0. That's all I got to say. 3-0.
Who is the teammate from your era that would be most likely to wear that?
Ted Washington.
Oh, brother, we need that like we need oxygen.
Yeah, if that was a thing and guys felt they had the freedom that they do now, Ted by all means.
That's the guy.
Ted would have showed up in that.
I didn't know he had that kind of personality. I just knew you couldn't run the ball when he was on the field.
Ted was hilarious. Ted was a jokester. Ted was funny, lighthearted and all that. So yeah, I could see Ted trying to pull that off.
Mount Washington in the Bills Zubas overalls with no shirt. I actually think he lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. I think my brother ran into him a few years ago.
He does, and I'm pretty sure he owns some I think he owns some Popeyes franchises as well.
All right, Dad, let's go. Let's go, my guy.
But no, and then Dion, of course, showed up no shirt with a vest, which was also quite interesting.
Man, do you ever think about like nobody when you were playing? Nobody saw this type of stuff. No. Would you have been a guy like that? Would you have been thinking about your pregame outfits and all that stuff?
We did the same thing every year. So there's a guy, a tailor out of Rochester that would show up. He'd come down once a year early in the season after the cuts were made, and then he would fit guys for suits. And we all usually bought like two to three suits. Some guys bought more. They wore a different suit every game. I wasn't one of those, but yeah, I mean, this guy come down. And back then when you traveled, you had to wear suits. You didn't wear sweats or shorts or whatever else these guys wear. Marv made us wear coat and tie. So yeah, a little different road trip attire than it used to be.
I think with Sean that started out that way, suit and tie on the road. Now these guys are wearing joggers and sweats, man.
Oh yeah. The best was Spielman would protest, and Spielman got fined multiple times. He would wear a dickie. He would wear like the fake collar with the tie connected to the collar on purpose, so that it looked like he was wearing a shirt and tie, but he obviously wasn't. But yeah, we used to have to wear coat and tie back in the day.
We got some time left here tonight. If you have a question for Jerry or me, put it in the chat. We'd love to get to it. I feel like the one thing that we haven't really unpacked in our post-game conversation, we've mentioned this, but Terrell Bernard's interception was a pretty big freaking deal, right? They were getting ready to score, and the thought that was in my head the whole time was they're going to go for two and get it.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a really, really crappy way to lose, but Terrell Bernard had other intentions. That was a good rush by Deion Walker. I'm glad he didn't bat the ball down, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that you could clown Tua, but I feel like that was a better play by Terrell.
Yeah, and of course, slow-mo.
Yeah.
They can go ahead and make the narrative anything they want. And they were like, of course, he stared down the receiver, and Bernard was playing where he's supposed to play. He was in position. Even I don't care if a quarterback's staring a guy down or not. If you're not in position, you're not going to make the play. But no, I was totally prepared like you for a last minute and 20, whatever it would be, Josh Allen having to go back down the field and try to win the game. But yeah, I mean, again, it goes right back to the Baltimore game. Defense doesn't have, a great performance, and you just need them to make a one stop or two stops or make one big play. And Ed made it in the Baltimore game with forcing the fumble. And in this game, It was Terrell Bernard. And we shouldn't be shocked. That's what's coached in Buffalo. That's how they coach defense. They want to force the ball to spots and make big plays. And Bernard made the big play tonight.
Got some questions starting to pour in. This feels like a really important one from Jeremy, who says, what needs to happen to improve the third down defense? Is there a simple answer? Is it just pass rush?
Yeah, I really do think it's pass rush. I look at Tua's numbers tonight. It's not like he went absolutely nuts. I mean, he was 23 of 35 for 161 yards. 161 yards. And I made this comment in the Discord. I said, I think Mike McDaniel has the best 5 to 6 yard playbook in the NFL.
Of course.
I've never seen a guy dial up so many 5 and 6 yard plays in my life than Mike McDaniel, but he does. And, again, I think about this guy because I think about what he would be as far as a second punch to James Cook. But A-Chain is he's marvelous in the pass game. He finds a way to get into small gaps and small holes. He's not a big guy, but he can accelerate. He's fast. he kind of is the guy that makes that offense go. I had over 5 yards a carry tonight on 12 carries, 62 yards. But yeah, I mean, again, 161 yards. If you look at the stats, you sit there and you look at them, you try to analyze them, you think Buffalo wins by, 3-4 scores?
Probably, yeah.
And they win by 10. But yeah, it's just that I think it's pass rush. I mean, we saw the good pass rush against the Jets. We saw some of it against the Baltimore Ravens. It was non-existent tonight. If you look at the stats over on Buffalo on defense, they did have 5 tackles for loss, no sacks, and had only 1 quarterback hit tonight, and that was Joey Bosa.
I would agree with you that it's mostly pass rush, but I don't think they're very sticky in coverage. And the guy who's playing opposite of Benford's going to be attacked in those situations. And I think it's definitely mostly pass rush, but when you're getting that type of cushion on 27,
right,
it doesn't help either.
But I also think too, that's who we got. That's who we're rolling with, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to change.
No, and there's going to be some ups and downs there. I don't expect it to be perfect, right?
Right, and then it's also theory. We don't really teach a bunch of sticky type pass coverage as well on the defensive side of the ball. That's not really what we do. We don't ever put ourselves really in compromising positions, Joe, where we're going to get a chance to get beat over the top.
Yeah, they want to just make the tackle and play the next down. And then eventually they get the interception, right? That's
right. I know it can be maddening. So when you look at all these situations, what's the easiest thing to fix? Hopefully, that's a healthy Ed Oliver and a better pass rush.
Josh has a heavy hitting question directed particularly for you. Question is for Big O, what are the game day spread and beverages of choice?
Well, it depends on the day. It was Thursday night, and I would have to say that I got into the Woodford a little bit early tonight. So the Woodford showed up before kickoff. I usually don't drink beer. I usually have something like Woodford or something like that. And then if it's a Saturday game, I might make wings, I might make brats, I might make boudin. I don't know. It just depends. But something that's easily eaten, that doesn't take a ton of work, and something that gets the job done. So that is the game day spread.
My answer to this is so boring. I don't eat during the game. I eat before to make sure that I'm not hungry during the game, and I drink water. So that's
I do usually have a bag of pretzels next to me though.
Pretzels.
Yeah, I got to have something that I can chew on. Oh yeah, I mean, I got to have something I can chew on. It's nerves or whatever it is, but yeah. So I had my Snyder's pretzels next to me tonight. So that's the other thing I always have with me.
All right, I dig it. A lot of comments here. Not happy about Trey White. Not happy about Greg Rousseau. Missing Ed Oliver.
Is anybody happy about 3-0? Have we had any of those? Have we had any of those messages?
It's a lot of complaining in the comments. This is yes. There's a lot of.
Well, you warned everybody, Joe. You warned everybody that last week's defensive performance was fool's gold. You said that multiple times. We talked about it.
I wanted this to be better, though. I really did.
But I think you really have to look. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm the simp of the group, but I just look at the situation. Backs against the wall, wounded animal, Thursday night football. All the ingredients were there for a game like this. And to me anyway, I just think it shows how good the Bills are and the professionalism of that football team, that they can score 31 and find a way to win. And as Kieran says, go to 3-0.
Some comments about field goal blocking. I think it's a good call out. I think the field goal blocking, not like blocking an opponent field goal, but the field goal protection team, it's been a little shaky. I feel like there's been some opportunities. Prater's getting it through. He missed a one. Are we filing that as a one-off for Prater? He's been perfect under that, except for that short miss. But that short miss was a big deal. Like, I'm a big game script guy. Like, I think it matters. I think it dictates so much of how games are going to go. The Bills had that opportunity to go up by 2 scores. He missed the chip shot. And then Miami gets the ball back, and they kept on converting those third downs. It's like, this is a nightmare. I love double dip. and I love controlling game script, and that was the big opportunity to do it. And like you want to talk about failing to have good complementary football, you miss a chip shot into not being able to get off the ball on third down, and then you take away a possession from Josh Allen before the half.
Right. We talked about it against Baltimore when they had the 2 3-and-outs, or against them on offense, we went 2 3-and-outs and kind of stalled, and that was kind of the turning point of the game, right? This seemed to be the bit of hope that the Dolphins needed to have that inspiration going into halftime at tied up. But when I want to see all 22, because usually when a kicker, especially a guy like Prater, misses a ball that badly, they will kick the ball. These guys are so good, they will kick the ball away from pressure. If they see a guy coming from the other team that they think has a chance to block it, they will kick it away from that. And I can't remember the pass rush or the kick rush. I don't know if it was compromised and there was a guy that was coming from the right that caused him to yank it so bad left. But they will do that because they're that well aware of what's going on with the opposing team in the rush. So it'll be interesting to see that all 22 and just how that sets up.
Some shaky from the special teams tonight. I mean, you had the opening kick return, put a short field for Miami. They were able to bleed off half the friggin' first quarter.
Yes.
On a short field. That was annoying,
Yes.
right? And then you have a missed field goal. Codrington making us damn near die with that. Like, I don't know, was it even a muff? He fumbled it after he caught it for no reason.
I still like him.
I do too, but that was one that
I think he's pretty gutsy, but it did give you a little bit of a hiccup. But no, I mean, you're trying to get your defense in a good state of mind and you're trying to get them a good start. We know the stylistic play of that defense and how they like to give up some short stuff underneath. That's fine and dandy if you're starting to drive from the 25 or the 30-yard line. You're starting from the 50 almost into your own territory. That really puts a lot of unneeded stress on that defense pretty quick. And I thought that was as much responsible for that first drive touchdown as poor defensive play.
Yeah, not a lot of great complimentary football.
No.
We repeat. The Buffalo Bills, 31-21 winners. They're 3-0, and this is the dream. The Bills, It's over. There's no more Bills games this week. They're 3-0, and just enjoy college football on Saturday. I've already got my Sunday mapped out. We're at 1 o'clock slate. We're watching Rams-Eagles. Then we're going Broncos and Chargers. Then we're going to sit there and root for Dayball and the Giants to give the Chiefs their third loss in a row. Then we're going to get a good night's sleep. We're going to watch Ravens and Lions. Go Lions. This is the dream, man. You win on Thursday night. I feel like the Bills got out of this thing pretty healthy. And now we just watch football that's it's stress-free for the next, 72 hours.
I got 3 teams. One team's done tonight. The University of Tulsa Golden Hurricanes done tomorrow night as they play Oklahoma State down in Stillwater on a Friday night. And then I just got the UNI boys to watch on Saturday. And then I'll be chilled out. It'll be good. So I'm with you, man. I'm excited to have a stress-free weekend as far as some football goes.
Well, that is going to do it for us here today on Bill Squad. We'll be back again for you next Thursday. That's our 2 o'clock show Eastern time on the YouTube channel. We'll tie a ribbon on any of the news out of this weekend. We'll get ready for the Saints matchup. And then, of course, after the Saints game, we'll be live for you in the post game. Thank you so much for being here. This has been an absolute blast. You got a lot more coverage coming. You're going to get my normal post game reaction show. We're going to do that here in just a moment. Tomorrow, we're spending Friday in the tape, the all 22 review. That'll be out for you later on Friday. So, look, that's how it goes, man. The grind doesn't stop. I wouldn't have it any other way. Bills 3-0, 31-21 winners over the Miami Dolphins. Go Bills.
Much love. Go Bills.